No, is that?
That's mine.
What's yours?
It's lumps of egg.
The council? It's not John, you don't drink tea, John.
No.
Fish.
I'm a coffee man. Right.
Anyway lads, we're just back from the stall. How do we get on, do you think?
Very good.
Very good reception.
Yeah, great reaction. Yeah.
Very good response today anyway.
Yeah,
very good.
Despite the rain. Despite the rain, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
And people are becoming more vocal, I notice. Not just taking leaflet, but actually speaking and saying, I'm not paying, and fair play to you.
Yeah.
And that's a compliment.
I noticed that since the bills
Yeah.
started to
Yeah.
go down, that the style is getting very, and it's getting a bit militant as well, you know.
Yes.
Well, my own guess is there's over 1,200 of those flyers coming out today. Even though we were kind of late starting, usually just one to about 3:30, but we were late because of the rain. But still, that's an awful lot of flyers to go out. Even at times, especially we were saying it was quiet enough.
It was.
In terms of numbers of people in the city.
Yeah.
But despite that, they went out anyway, you know.
But people a lot of people were scrambling to the tables to sign up, like there was actually a rush at one stage. So that's a good sign, like.
I think it shows that people do want to get organised, and they do on the issue of the water. They definitely want to take a stand on that. But people are not afraid to come up and approach us and talk. I think that's very different than it would have been 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You stand up 4 or 5 years ago and start talking about the state of democracy, and something was wrong with you.
Even 12 months ago.
But I think it's increasingly turning around.
But I felt myself now today, people that I was talking to, like, they were quite aware of they're doing to the tenants as well,
Oh yeah.
and that they weren't in favour of what they were doing to the tenants, and not alone were they not in favour of the tenants, but the majority of people were in favour of not paying for the water. And I was experiencing that if they don't pay, there is no penalties. So why would they pay?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I think is it 4 bills have to be issued before penalties will begin to apply, which means
Which will be after the election.
it's after it has to be after the election.
And then 2 more bills after that, so it's 6.
Yeah.
And
6 in total, I
So
think.
there's no risk
No.
to people not.
And on top of that, then you don't get the grant unless you pay 4 bills, isn't it?
You have to. Well, the rules for this grant aren't published yet. You have to apply for it as the first thing, and that tells you there will be terms and conditions. So we don't know what they'll be.
But I wouldn't look at that as a grant, I look at it as a bribe.
Well,
Yeah.
That's all it is, yeah.
It's a
It's
bribe.
It's a bribe.
Yeah.
You pay maybe the minimum of €1,000 and then get €100.
But you don't actually get the €100.
No.
No.
I'm not sure.
No.
You don't know. You see, you have to have paid up front the bill,
Yeah.
and then it'll be just a
they
refund.
subtract it off the bill.
Of what you'll get back of what you've already paid.
Oh yeah.
It's only a credit.
Yeah, it's a credit, that's what.
Yeah.
That's all, and knock off the bill,
But what about this thing?
And it's only €100. A lot of people don't
Yeah.
realise this. It's only one.
Yeah. What
Some
about this
people think
thing?
they're getting it in 218 and 219 as well.
Yeah.
They won't be.
Correct.
It's just one.
It's a once off.
All I will say is now about this new leaflet that came out this evening, we will be delivering for my town, as for my says no to the water thing, and that we will be actually pinning these onto the ones we have, just to let the people see that when they couldn't get the better of them with not paying for the water, they gave away their private details to the water company.
Yeah.
Which I think
16,000 families.
Which I think is a disgrace
Yeah.
in Ireland at this present day, and we're supposed to be a Catholic country, and I think that that's very wrong what they're doing to the people here, and it should be addressed fully by the powers that would be. That's our parties, and that our parties should take this on in courts, and
But the parties are the ones who've done this.
but
They're the ones who had to crack the party whip saying, allow it to happen.
What I'm saying is now, it was one, the property tax was run above and meat, as we all know. So I mean, there was funding from the parties, and there's nothing. Well, there was a lot of funding from the parties into that, and they won the case. So I think that is to be up to our parties, as individual parties, to take on the government on this issue of having people their addresses being given.
Do you
out.
have faith in the political parties, Willie?
Pardon?
Do you have faith
I haven't faith in the political party, that's what I'm saying. I haven't got faith.
Yeah.
But I mean, to say the thing, I think that they should come out and not to be going against the people. Because from what I
It's just
believe,
better if they should just go away.
from what I believe, the Dublin Council is actually going to challenge you, as far as I know.
What the People's Convention are saying, the only challenge to this is actually the people themselves getting organised. These parties, while they sound off, like even on this issue of in Cork here of all the names being handed over, like a few of them have said, oh, they're very concerned about these developments, right? That's only,
Yeah.
you know, plow-mossing the people.
Well, I know.
If they're concerned, why aren't they banging the table and walking out?
At the end of
They're not,
the
they don't
day,
care.
Not a single one of them walk out.
Not a single
at the
one.
end of the day, it's
When
going
that
to
came
be
up,
people
there's a
from-
mass walk out of
I do
That's
hope
with democracy.
I do hope that the bit now I have been working for my with Pat, and certain Pat has been working for my for the last couple of years, and as far as I'm concerned, the people of my those that paid those that registered are now adamant that they won't pay the bill.
Yeah.
So I think on that ground, I think on them grounds alone that this will fail.
I think it will, yeah.
It will fail.
I think it will, but we must try and
Yes.
build the alternative.
Yeah.
Like, it's very easy to get dragged into a single issue type debate, whereby we think this is just fix the water now, we're all happy. This isn't the case.
No.
All that's happened with this water is that people's disaffection with what's gone on is focused now and highlighted on the water. But the issue underlying the whole lot is the lack of empowerment of the people.
Yeah, I like that sentence, Dermot, that you have
Which
at
one?
the end there where it says, we have to ask, who is representing the people?
Yeah.
Have we any say?
Yes.
And that's what it all boils
Yeah.
down
That's
to.
right,
Yeah.
Who's representing us? Who's speaking for us?
Yeah.
Who's listening to us?
We have no
We
representation.
have
We have no representation. just
no, we don't have a say.
Either we have no representation in local government or in national government. You know, it's all the party political system has this country ruined. Yeah, and the lack of democracy.
Yeah.
You know,
They
we
have
need-
their agenda and they're forcing it through.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Against the will of the people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you remember that
That's
bill,
right.
that letter we got during the week about from the council about the bill, and at the bottom of that bill it says it's a private company.
Limited
Why
budget.
should the council be involved in this in any way?
Yeah.
So
Well, like
at
this
the bottom
fire.
of your bill,
But I mean,
Irish
if you want
Water.
an answer to that, didn't the council get involved when they sorted out the addresses of their tenants? To the
Yeah,
water,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Why-
so I mean,
why
like,
did
Why did that?
why did they?
why did they do that?
Which was undemocratic as well.
Which was
Well, it was done. It was done. We're told over the heads of even those who were elected.
Yeah.
So the elected representatives weren't even consulted on it.
No.
It was done by the administration basically. But it shows you, like we are forever here saying that the Budnock says very little about what local government is. But what it says is very clear, and it says that local government is, quoting, to provide a forum for the democratic representation of local communities.
Yes.
That's what it says. So how is it representing local communities
It's not
if you're handing over the rights of, in Cork's case,
Yeah.
16,000 families,
16,000
right?
families, yeah.
And this lawyers make that point as well. Like, are we to think so, or is it the case that these 16,000 families have less rights to privacy than if you were renting in private accommodation,
But the question
or if you owned your own,
Yeah.
if you owned your own property and had a mortgage? Have you less rights because you're in public housing?
The question I'd like to put to him is whether this 26 what I call it to bring out this rule, like, you know, they had a ruling at 26 something anyway, and they brought this out onto the people and they said it in the letters. Do you know what I mean? And where did they get this from? Like, did they just bring that in themselves, or you know, that's what
I don't know what the particular law. I think in terms of handing over the details, I think the county at least have said that they did so because they were under contractual obligation with Irish Water. Like all the local authorities in the country are acting as subcontractors to local
Yeah.
water or to Irish Water for maintenance of the infrastructure. Like I know in the case of the city, there's 22 million euros involved that Irish Water have paid or are supposed to pay City Council anyway on an annual basis to cover the cost of maintenance.
Yeah.
So they're saying on the basis of that contract, that they had to hand over the details of the tenants.
But aren't they looking
In my
for
view,
that back as well?
that gives them no right to hand over
but
private
no,
details.
But aren't they looking for that back as well?
What I'd like to say on that note,
Something
Dermot,
like that.
what I'd like to say on that is that they handed over the rights of the people as the justice, right? But on their rent books, which my niece has one of them, and it says that between the payer and the boss, like as we call it, landlord, that is confidential. It's a confidential matter, and it should be not handed out. And why isn't the law challenging that now at the moment? That's the question.
This is a matter for data protection as well.
You see, these issues are never going to
The
be...
data protection board should be coming in,
They
the
should
commission. But they
no more,
won't.
no more than the Standards of Public Office Commission that we've experience of. These laws aren't there for use by the people. It's even difficult to get solicitors to take up such cases, right, and fight a challenge against them. The only way these things will be turned back is when politically the powers that be see it's expedient that they better yield, because otherwise the people are going to advance, right? So the only way we'll turn this back is by organising the people, I think. Shirley, what do you reckon? You had some experience in Ballincollig, didn't you, on this
Yes.
body and stuff, didn't you? What were they?
That's right. Roadstone are planning on putting in a demolition waste facility beside us, and it's a large housing estate in a very, very built-up area in Ballincollig. But they don't have to do an environmental impact study, and that law was changed a couple of years ago. So now they can process a lot of rubble there with no regard to the environment. No study has to be undertaken.
Breaking up mass concrete.
Yes.
Yeah.
And stockpiling waste.
Asbestos as well.
What is asbestos in that?
They say it won't be there, but how can they guarantee it won't be there?
And they don't need environmental impact.
No, they don't.
Even though Luke Ming now, our former TD from this country, but now an MEP, he's recorded in the European Parliament condemning the European Union because farmers up in the west of Ireland need environmental studies to repair fences on their own properties.
But are these people?
Like some of these laws are so twisted, the corporate seems to do what it likes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Citizen can't.
Are these people you're talking about now, Shirley, with the asbestos, are they professionals or are they just contractors? Because there is a professional side to removing
asbestos.
removing that. You know what I mean?
There has to be
We
a
have
key.
it why and no one can get rid of it because we have to bring it out from England now.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, if they're an army contractor, are they qualified? Are they qualified to remove asbestos?
I don't know. They
That's
say,
the question you
they
should
say
be
Well,
it
they're,
won't bring
they're
it
probably
in,
the
but
biggest company in the
happens.
country doing it, you know.
Why not? But at the same time, you know, it should be questioned that the professionals
Yeah.
and have they the
Well, it was-
the
it
right
was-
equipment to remove it.
Yeah, the point I was trying to come to on it was that you yourself had gone around to the local community,
Yes.
and since then this whole project now was put back.
Yeah, because we got so many objections. We got 70 objections in,
Yeah.
and now it has been deferred, and they have to answer 5 questions regarding the impact on the environment,
Right.
regarding dust
Yeah.
and noise and storing of fuel.
Right.
So
yeah.
people all speaking together. We did have a say, and we have stopped them temporarily, and they have to answer some questions. So like that shows the power of the people can make a difference.
Yeah.
And even actually on this very issue of the water, right? The fact that the government, you know, in response to the hundreds of thousands who marched, right, declaring that their objection to this imposition of this charge, right, it did already have an impact. The government yielded on the price issue. They brought it down, trying to get an easier sell, right? But it wouldn't have happened in a million years had the people not come on the street. Because people got together and declared themselves, that was the telling factor. The same way on all other issues, it will be the telling factor, is that the people will insist upon it. But we must then not be diverted by little victories in one place or the other, but we must stick to our core, which is, you know, like James Connolly's famous song, or the man's most modest star, we only want the earth, everything. The people have a right to everything, short of nothing. The people don't want more say in running our country, we want the full say. That's what democracy means. Anything less than that, you don't have democracy. The people should rule, end of. Not vested interests.
Because I think
Yes,
at
our
the
forefathers
present
gave
day
us.
now- At
in
the
Bundock.
present day now, that's what I was asking you the question there, Shirley, is the health and safety issue at the present day is unbelievable. You know? That anything you do now comes under the banner of health and safety issue. You know what I mean? And
It's
there's
an
no getting
excuse.
away from it. Like, I know it is an excuse for it now.
I mean, it is important, but
But at the same time, they are making the rules on that, you know, health and safety, and health and safety issue should be complied in everything that goes on.
They
You
use the
know,
law
so-
to- they use the law to suit themselves.
Yes.
They use it to tread on the
I
people.
mean,
Yes.
when Aristide closed below, there was a lot of waste left there, and it's still there.
Still there.
Still there. So you can't say it's been acted on all the time. It's not. It's not. And we're in the EU, and all these rules are in place, but they're not being applied. They're being broken all the
It's
time.
selective.
Yeah.
It seems
But
to me
like
that
somebody down there, like when she had that issue, be like, which is the people that moved it through health and safety, you know.
it seems to me
Like,
that
it shouldn't
that
have
the
been
wheel-
them, it should have been
Really?
the health
Well,
and safety crowd, you know.
it seems to me that the wheel is completing a circle after 20 years. Back in 1995 you had the problem with South Coast Community Television.
Sorry.
At that time you had, remember them, Tony O'Reilly, who was around today, who wanted complete monopoly over MMDS. Then you had, for example, John Bruton, who was the Taoiseach at the time. Shortly after that, rather, he came to Carrigaline, where it was a packed meeting of about 300 people, and he made a promise that if he got into power, that he would give South Coast Television a community licence to broadcast television in our area. It was called the Bruton Promise. At that time you had Ray Burke, we all know about Ray Burke and his history behind him. Then you had Hugh Coveney, Lord rest him, he had an accident and died there some years back, but Hugh Coveney may not have gotten into power had it not been for South Coast Community Television. He got into power today, and as a result his son is in power today, a minister. But at that time you also had Michael Lowry. So there's a circle of names I just mentioned there, and they're still linked today, 20 years later, to, would say, Tony O'Reilly. You have Dennis O'Brien, again looking for a monopoly over water. At that time Tony O'Reilly was MMDS, today it is Dennis O'Brien with Irish Water. He wants control over our water. Then you have Enda Kenny, who was similar to Ray Burke at the time, or to John Bruton at the time. And then you had Alan Kelly, Phil Hogan, and Simon Coveney. These are all linked up together to an event that happened 20 years ago. Again, through big business wanting power, control over.
Doesn't it show you, Patrick, continuity there of the interests of monopoly dictating everything?
Cronyism.
Cronyism as well.
Same
Yeah. You even have the hereditary thing there.
Yeah.
Cronies.
No, I just coming up this evening, this morning, I just put all these names together.
Yeah. It's like as if we're not making progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because constantly you have these vested interests, be it with the LMDS or be it with Irish Water or some other such thing. These vested interests are constantly controlling.
It's called the Golden Circle.
And so long as we're stuck in that loop, that's where we shall remain. It's like being in a fairyland, you don't get out. We have to break it, right? And the only break for it is, the only alternative to rule by vested interests is only one thing, and that's rule by the people, democratic rule by the people. Anything else means that we're being ruled over. So that's what we have to keep trying to underline. We don't need party clubs, we don't need vested interests of any kind. Individuals have to step forward, and I think disheartening now the experience at the stall today, and increasingly over the recent weeks, people are more and more listening to what we're saying, and more, readily accepting it. That this idea of people taking responsibility and coming forward is growing, and that's what we need to develop on, build on that, keep building on it. It's still quite small in terms of the population, but it's starting to have its tail.
But also you have the number of people looking for marches to be held.
Yes,
Yeah,
one or two people they ask me.
And
every
information as well.
Every single day there are people looking for a march. When is the next march? When is the next march?
We have it in Comoy as well,
Yeah.
It's great to see that the people are actually coming out and standing up for themselves.
The hunger, there's fierce hunger there for no.
And I think as Dermot said there, if we were to organise one from it might be, you might be commemorous, we say, and we'll say that you can bring in Yarl and Mitchelstown and Mallow and surrounding towns like that to from and get the message out in a proper manner, like,
You see, there's a meeting in a public meeting being held next Saturday in Yall actually, for looking for independent candidates in the contest of forthcoming election.
Right.
So a few of us will go down to that after the stall here next Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in under the clock tower. So it's great, people should have those discussions all over the place. Because we have to stop relying upon, who are these party clubs to go selecting candidates for elections? People should select their own candidates. We don't need to be relying on them.
They're supposed to represent us as someone else picks up.
Somebody else picks them and then they follow somebody else's instructions. Like one of the things we were saying over there today on the street was, like in Cork City there's 9 TDs, right? And when was the last time any of us saw them, in fact ever saw them, inside in Patrick Street,
On a Saturday.
raising issues with the people and discussing with them? Never. It never happens. Why? These are supposed to represent us, aren't they? Are they not paid enough? They're getting huge vulgar salaries, right? And they don't even come amongst people.
And look at what happened to one TD when she came out and stood with her
Yes.
constituents.
Yeah, last week, yeah.
She was just standing on the footpath.
Yeah.
And she was arrested.
A public footpath in her own constituency.
Yes.
Arrested under the Public Order Act.
Yeah.
And absolutely scandalous
And
disgrace.
dragged away as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what
Yeah,
about the
because-
100 protesters who ended up going to jail
Yeah.
because they're just protesting about the installation of water meters? These
Crazy.
are all scare tactics.
There.
Bullying.
Yeah.
Bullying.
Bullying.
Bullying, yeah.
But you know, the people of Ireland should now be in a position to call a whole referendum, seeing that they didn't call a referendum from by the government. They should be able to.
We should
get
have
together and
we
call
should
a
have
vote.
that mechanism
Yeah.
for that,
Yeah.
but there is no
Yeah.
mechanism
No.
for that.
Yeah.
Well,
Only
it's
Dáil
about-
Éireann can call a referendum.
It's about time that
Disgrace.
Yeah.
it should be put in place because, like, we're going to be ignored by these parties if we don't. You know what I mean? Look for a referendum. We shouldn't have to look for a referendum. It should be called by and the people in on top of it. Like I mean,
you
you
think
have people out there at the present day, and I know it myself. They're being scaremongered into paying this and paying that and paying other things, and I mean they can't afford it. They're inside their doors 24/7 because they can't come out. They can't enjoy themselves.
But it,
Another thing that we actually need is we need to be able to recall TDs that are not doing their job.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were in any other line of work, they would be fired. We, as their employer, should have that right
Yeah.
because they are not representing us.
Yes. Yeah.
I have never yet been represented up in Dáil Éireann by
If the
any of the
people-
TDs.
if the people have a right to elect our representatives, the logical follow to that is it's also therefore our right to unelect them.
To recall them.
Right? Yeah. To recall them. And number one, ask them to account, and if they're not happy, dismiss them. Right? And have a new election, select a new representative.
Profit or have that policy.
Yeah.
Within the upcoming election.
We launched that 5 years ago in a
5
programme.
years ago, we have it. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's no,
people taking it
it's
up
no
now.
good getting rid of these politicians when they're going out with full pay and full pensions.
know.
This is a disaster. Like,
Laughing all the
it
way.
doesn't work. Like.
Well, I think they should get the
Can-
same as
Can win, that's a no win.
I-
There must be a penalty put in place if they lose their jobs.
when the penalty I put on them is they get the same pension as the old age pensioner, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
enough
I
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's-
And
And 65.
and
Yeah.
it's
Go over to
65.
Hanover Street and sign
67,
on.
68.
And sign
Like
on this
anyone
year
else
as
that's been
anyone
fired.
else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
But they've created
they have
a
done
league,
nothing for
you
the
know.
people what they're in.
No.
You know what I mean? Like
No.
we're not stupid. Like we know well they haven't done nothing for the people. Like you know what I mean?
They're
They're
getting
not
their
helping
ivory
people.
tower, they're getting so big wages, pensions, expenses. They lose sight of what the ordinary person is going through.
Mm.
They're overpaid and
They only know the only person when they're coming to the door. That's
Yeah.
the only
Yeah.
thing they know.
Once every 5 years.
Once every 5 years.
How much do the sun, moon, and stars
Yeah.
and bribe you and threaten you
Yeah.
that if they get in, there'll be jobs and investments lost. We've heard it 1,000 times.
They'll do anything to stay in power.
They will do anything to save, literally anything.
Sell or do
Yeah.
anything.
But then I don't know already.
They are.
We'll go to a policy for the next election. Actually, I don't know. Fianna Fáil came out last week with their health policy.
They were saying
Pie in the sky
even
stuff like.
they have all these commentators in the media non-stop. One of them was on today, saying that actually the coalition was comfortable because at the end of the year they'll have a surplus of 2 billion. Someone said, imagine they'll have a surplus of 2 billion, and poor people in their homes. There's kids going to school hungry. There's senior citizens afraid to go buy the medicines they need because they can't afford
Waiting on a
charges.
hip operator.
Waiting on operator. And
Yeah.
someone says they'll have a surplus of 2 billion as a fund
They'll probably give
for
that
bribing us
They'll send
out
that.
of, with our own money.
Well, with our money.
Yeah.
They'll send that off out to Europe anyway.
Oh, they probably will, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well,
there'll be a fair old kitty used in bribing us, alright. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
be sure of that.
Well, that's what it's for.
But that's all well and good. Do you know what? I think everybody in the country knows this. They knows there's lies going on, there's threats, there's bribery going on non-stop. The missing factor is that people aren't organised.
Yeah, but then when
We're
I
not
think
organised.
as a movement here, we should be emphasising all these things.
Oh, we need to.
What is going on, the truth.
Yeah.
And we cannot leave these bastards, sorry no, for that expression. We cannot leave and forget what you done over the last 5 years.
No.
We have to be behind them.
For
When
generations.
they're election year,
Years, yeah.
we'll have to be behind them
Yeah.
with banners and telling the people,
Since
don't
the
forget what,
foundation of the
what
state.
these people are after doing to us.
Since the
And
foundation of the
if,
state.
if it is the case that there's going to be marches organised, people should attend it for the information that they can receive at these
Yep.
functions. You know what I mean? They should be there
Yeah.
and receive and like you have him. He's unsure whether he'll pay or not. I know I'm not going to pay. He's unsure. That shouldn't be. The case should be that we all shouldn't pay.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or we should all pay. But it's
Yeah.
either one or the other.
Mass
You can't-
boycott.
But I think
Mass
the
boycott,
experience of people who are going around to houses are that 80%.
Oh, 80%, yeah.
At least.
Yeah. And
That's the
that's a
conservative
huge,
estimate.
huge number. So I think it's good night, Irene, as regards Irish Water.
But I think that 80% is a fairly conservative estimate.
Yeah.
But,
But there'll be no honest figures on that.
No.
Not until
No.
after the elections.
That's right, yeah.
And I'd say, you know, it's anyone's guess then what format the next Dáil Éireann will be taking, because the sad thing is still today, like, we're organised, but by and large the people of the country are not organised.
No.
So we're going to fill Dáil Éireann again with these party representatives who will be towing the line. So depending on what mix they are, they will or they won't put in a push to hammer home this Irish Water. We'll see what happens. Every citizen should be encouraged to take a stand in the election. Everybody.
And I don't think people should look on us as we have to stop it. It's there to stop it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have a lot of people out there,
Yeah.
even in my own town, like that, well, William and Pat are doing something about it, you know, so we, you know, we'll be fighting over one. Like, that's not an attitude, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You must have the full support of your town and all. Now, we will be giving out leaflets in our own town this coming week, and we will be giving good information on it from the Phobail says no, and also from
People's Convention.
People's Convention here. We'll be attaching leaflets onto ours, giving it to them, and I hope that they read them and study them, and then they can make their decision, because there's only one decision to make after that, as I taught in the Avenue, and that is to don't pay.
Yeah.
You know?
The bills haven't all arrived. I haven't seen any bill yet myself. They'll arrive over the coming weeks.
Which is more than Irish Water as well. Like, there's a lot more things out there. You know?
No, I
the
don't
water
think. I
resource
don't
stand,
think-
that's the main thing.
More water,
Another
but
thing,
there is more than water.
another thing I'd like to say, you know, lads, like, you know, people are getting some, they're getting the water meters put in, right? But like what I'm trying to get across to them, if they put in the water meters, right? That's only 10 minutes work, but O'Brien's getting £500 for that, okay? Right, that's grand. But people are saying to them, we'll have to pay. No, you don't, as you say. They can put the meter in, but you don't have to pay, because you have an option of writing to these and saying that the water meter you put in, within 30 days if it's not removed, I will treat that as an unwanted gift to do as I wish with it. And you have every entitlement to do that.
A lot of people are just going to take them out anyway.
It's
No
important
letters
that
required.
it's important that
Take it out.
the meter program is stopped, because
Yeah, it
if
is.
it is successful, which it won't be, like, but if it was successful, you'd have 1.5 million meters all over the country. They would then have an asset that they could sell.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's what
the
they're
thing.
gearing for.
That
Yeah.
is the,
They
that
want
is
a
the-
billing machine,
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
That's like these telephone companies. They're all about billing machines, you know. And that's what the meter is for.
They have the meters in, and they'll also have a database then
Exactly.
of registered
Yeah.
people.
And they want compliant
So that,
customers who
yeah.
happily pay their bills.
At that stage, then it will be
charges.
stored.
Yeah. So hopefully,
If they get to 1.5, it'll be 5
They won't be the 1.5, but if they got it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Our Parliament is owned by Europe. Do we want our water owned by Europe? Our Parliament.
Dáil Éireann.
Dictated to by, it's dictated.
Oh, it may be being dictated to, but
Yes.
it's not owned.
Not
It's
owned
belongs to the
in
people,
that
isn't it?
sense,
Yeah.
but being dictated to. Do
It
we
is.
want, do we want the same with our water?
Yeah. And all our natural resources,
Yeah.
our fishing, our gas
Oh.
and oil, our agriculture even is all under monopoly control now, everything.
We've been dictated by Europe, he's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that German Chancellor asked them to come in the water, and
Yes.
that's the German way.
Yes.
They charge some rainwater off the roof.
Well, Irish Water is doing that too. If you want
Yeah,
to collect
come there.
rainwater, you have to
That
ask
is
their
part of
permission.
the
It's part of
the
the terms and
legislation is
conditions.
to own all the water.
They have
all the
no
water and
doubt
everything.
about it. If they
Yeah.
think it's true,
Yeah.
we won't be able to take the rainwater, eh?
It's
You
part of
be
the terms
careful.
and conditions of Irish Water. If you read it, that you're not allowed to use rainwater runoffs to flush your loo.
You have to ask
That is
permission.
in the terms and conditions.
So the alternative to that, go down the backyard like we did one time, we did go over it. You know,
You could read who's one of those songs we have, what's his name? A man from Tipperary, the singer.
Richie Cabinet.
Richie Cabinet played those songs.
Cheek having
There's a whole collection of water songs, we have them installed every Saturday anyway. So they're a laugh.
You won't be able to sing that song no more, then you want your old lobby watch.
Twist it to one.
You'll be able to sing.
Don't
The
forget
walls.
sunshine.
You'll
The
be able
walls would you be arrested?
you'll be able to sing the song, all right, but you won't be able to use the water for it.
For what you don't.
Nah.
Alright, I think some of the lads are going to get on the road and
We'll go.
All right.
try. Anyway guys, we'll have another couple
If
of
you
days now,
excuse
but
us, so and I
Yeah.
we're meeting
Yes.
on Tuesday.
we'll
Yeah.
bus trip to make.
We'll be making,
Yeah.
I think we might be organising a public meeting shortly now again.
Yeah.
And we'll be in touch.
Yeah, you have a few flyers already.
We had to hold that.
Thanks very much.
We fixed that.
Lads,
Keep
we'll
the
be,
flying high, as you say.
lads, we'll be organising a public meeting down also
Yeah.
Slán all you lads.
for the Metropole Hotel.
All right.
Oh yeah, you'll be in
Yeah.
touch about that.
So we'll be going
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
we'll be going out putting the cardboard up the poster, so
Very
we,
pretty out way as well.
we need a hand.
Me locked in there.
Alright, well, see you Pat.
Oh, it'll be half 7. It'll be half
Yeah,
7.
oh yeah.
Slán lads.
Go on lads.
Slán. Yeah. Is it? Sus to